Actually, maybe I'm not going to do that. Let's stop streaming. Good morning. Who am I? Who am I? I'm back. I'm back asking that same question. We ask it every day. Trying to find that place within my own soul where I know this answer. And just sort of softly broadcast it out onto the wavelengths. Let it join the frequencies. Let it feed the field. Who am I? I was thinking about that question this morning. I always think about this question every morning. And the answer to the question, who am I, lies in identity, obviously. Lies in which side of yourself, which aspect of yourself are you identifying with at any given time? And when I say you, I mean your physical you that you know about, the one that you have immediate control over, immediate physical, specific control. Who is she? Well, that's your physical body, your physical mind, but you are two selves. Did you know that you are two selves? You really, really, really are two selves. And the reason that's just really important to understand what's going on around you, why your neighbors act the way they do, what's going to start happening to us. Another interesting question about all this has to do with what is the field. We are not separate individuals. I mean, we are in a way. Every one of us possesses a particular kind of quality I like to call divine autonomy. It's one of my favorite pet concepts, divine autonomy. It has to do with your ability to navigate your energy ship, your consciousness vessel. But you can't buck the whole field. Uh, Depending on how you identify and depending on how you are moving from. Well, let's start over again. Who am I? You're a vibrational being in a vibrational universe, but everything is vibration, actually. And before the end of this session, I hope to have a good, vigorous discussion about trying to illuminate the new understandings of the new physics, the new unified physics, how the math links the different scales, the small to the large, how the math does that, and the feedback loop that's going on, the feedback, feed forward. That's how the universe developed to what it has developed. There is no way that it could possibly be random. There is a driving force. But the thing is people are always worried about that. They're worried about that because they think that it means that something outside of themselves is forcing them to do something. No, you have total free agency, but there is a larger plan, and you can either join it joyfully and think of clever and beautiful, original ideas from your own side of how you could enhance this general project. And that's where your freedom is. Your freedom is not to, go carve out a whole nother universe for yourself, although honestly, that might even be possible too, but that's a discussion for another day. The fact is that you are a field phenomenon. We are a field phenomenon. We are one. You don't have to you don't have to go draw yourself a sign write yourself out a sign and join a bunch of people and, walk up and down the street. Unite! We need to be together. We are strong. The fact is that we are one. We are one, and we're going to explore kind of from a positive perspective what all of that means, because for this next hour, every single thing that we're going to try, all the directions that we're going to try to flow with, we're trying to flow with everything's okay, things are always working out for me, well-being way outweighs the not well-being. It just, my suspicious mind has a way of dropping it down into the lower frequencies. And so we're not going to do that for this whole hour. We are pure, positive, forward-looking, optimistic, all is well, even though obviously all is not well. Okay? So for just a few seconds, I will dedicate just a few seconds talking about acknowledging that humanity is not where it would like to be in a lot of respects. I don't watch the news, but I think that there are some things that would reach even me if they had happened. Have all the wars stopped? Has the sixth mass extinction reversed, and now daily the number of species are growing? Has that happened yet? No? How about, have we switched fossil fuel? Have we switched fuel sources? Or are we still on fossil fuel? Still on fossil fuel? Oh, okay. All right. How about gravity? Have we cracked that code yet? No? Okay. All right. So nothing has really changed. So what are the things that we don't like? War, world poverty, inequity in our systems, inefficiencies in our systems, ignorance in our systems. Systems based on us not knowing already that whether we like it or not, we are one being. And so all of the greedy pigs at the top, who have their tens of hundreds of billions of dollars, and they're, flowing it to their own selfish purposes or whatever, all of those people. Now, hold on a second. Whenever I do that, it gets me off track. I forget my larger point because I really don't hate billionaires. I don't hate billionaires. What I hate is a system that does not understand that we are all one already. And so say if you are being someone that you think is selfish and directing resources overly in their direction and being ignorant and oblivious of the needs of others. It's a system that allows that to happen is actually a problem, but he's thinking that he's separate from the rest of the group. But I promise you, when the rest of the group is in poverty and pain, that billionaire is not going to be happy. None of us are going to be happy until we all understand that we are all one with this. Now, that was a poor example because, I imagine that a lot of specific billionaires, they're so surrounded by all the things that and it might be possible that some of them are billionaires that, well, they're all billionaires for a reason. There is an abundance that they are collecting to themselves because they believe that's possible. Now, whether they understand that we are all in this together or not, if they really understood it, their actions would reflect it. Sometimes in our current society, those who have amassed that kind of wealth to themselves are often sociopaths. And they have a great fear but there's something you can't hate billionaires and then expect yourself to ever, become one. I don't actually want to be a billionaire. There's too much, but being a billionaire in itself is not a wickedness. Not a wickedness. All right, I'm digressing. See what happens. What happened is I paused for just a second to acknowledge that humanity is not where it wants to be, And it took me down a funny tube. So we're going to go back to the positive strain, because the point of view that I am espousing today is that in general all is well. However, humanity has some shit that we do that we need to understand who we are so we quit doing this shit. What is one of the things that I'm talking about? Well, there's a vibrational tendency that we have that we move into. This is a political move, it's a socio move, it's a socioeconomic move, a vibrational move, if you will, to the autocrat. What is that all about? We're going to have to ask ourselves these questions. What is that all about? And one of the reasons we got to ask this question is, as the new energy source, perhaps this is what's going to happen, but maybe this is not what's going to happen. Maybe somehow the fullness of our understanding of the authoritarian psychosis and Wetiko disease, this is what Paul Levy calls it. It's what indigenous tribes called it. And what this disease is, what this authoritarian psychosis is it's a kind of blindness. It's a blind spot in the human psyche. And we're gonna talk about what that's caused by. It actually is caused by the binary system of who we are, and then identifying with our negative self instead of understanding what our positive and negative emotions are actually telling us. Instead, we identify with the conditions, we identify with the negative self, and then something really peculiar happens to our psychology and to our sight, to our inner sight. So we're going to talk about that, and how we're going to need to get over that, because we're going to be really intimately involved with one another pretty soon here. Especially when gravity control kicks in, because we're going to be zipping around. You know, boundaries and borders won't have any. And besides that, AI is teaching us something about the intelligence of the field. And if the whole field is freaking intelligent, then what is the meaning of a human being? I'll tell you what the meaning of a human being is. It is life experiencing life. And we are all in this together, and each and every set of eyes on the consciousness on the grid somewhere is lighting up that space for all of us. And what we are all capable of is we are all capable of plugging into the whole thing, plugging into each other, plugging into ourselves, and lighting up the whole cosmos in a matrix of light. Unbelievable. All right, we don't need to wax too damn poetic, but this whole question is, who am I, right? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Why am I here? And if the machines can do it better, then what point am I? Well, the point of a human being never was the work that he could do. Now, the Lord of the Manor made you think that, you know, and all of those in the serving class had to buy their ticket of, you know, to the grocery store by serving the Lord. But the Lord, what was his job? Well, his job was to order. There was certain things that he needed to order, but it's experience. And so if all the automatons and the AI are doing the work, then what is our job? Our job is, well, I'm going to tell you what it is, and this is going to so agree with the teachings of Abraham. She advises you, you know, get out from under the hood. You know, quit trying to work the pistons and you know, the pulleys and the stuff. Get behind the driver's seat where you belong, and do your job. And what is your job? Your job is you're a pointer. You're a preferrer. You are an experiencer. So I talk about this binary self. You are a binary self. You consist of two major components. Now, you have more components than this, and we're going to break down some of the psychological ones. Physically, you're, 50 to 100 trillion separate, individual, divinely autonomous components. But we'll talk about that some other time. That's all your individual cells, and every one of them is operating autonomously, moving in the direction that, in the yes-no direction that it feels from its connection to source. And that's what I'm advising that we all do. We plug into source and we feel that yes-no connection, that, so that we can direct our own feet. Well, the only way you can truly understand that yes-no within a human being is you've got to understand the negative mind. You've got to understand what it is. Don't identify with it. It's part of your equipment, but it's a reed telling you something. And it's not telling you, it's giving you a read on your thoughts. How valid was the thought you just took? How relevant, how in alignment with your greater self and what it's thinking about. It may or may not be true what you're thinking about. You may be swirling into a place where you were thinking on and on and on about how wicked human beings can be and how much out of alignment you can observe if your idea was to stand in a location and start, play spot the misalignment. If you start going down a jag like that, the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to get personally way out of whack with your own inner being, because she is far away thinking about something completely different. She's standing in the same intersection, but she's not looking the same direction at all. And the difference between the direction she's looking and the direction you're looking is what's causing that horrible, horrible feeling. Because it's not the condition that is actually causing the horrible, horrible feeling. Your inner being knows about the condition, and she doesn't feel horrible because she knows why that condition is happening. She knows that condition is happening because we don't know who we are. We don't know who we are, and you're witnessing people who are way out of alignment with their two beings, and they're grubbing around in some place where God is not. What that means is they are grubbing around in their minds in places where their second mind is not. You've got to understand your two minds. You are chained to that positive mind. It is relentless. It is unshakable. And it is causing you all of your grief. So if you can't beat her, join her. Join her. Join her in her positivity, in her optimism, in her joyful eagerness, in her expansive outlook. No matter, she feels that way, and she knows the truth about everything. She knows how wicked human beings are. But she also knows that the only reason that we are that way is that we don't know who we are. And so to that end, I dedicate my show to helping us understand better who we are and what the devil is going on, so that we can live better lives, so that we can make smarter, wiser choices. So what are we here for? We are here to choose the better. Now, we can actually teach AI to run the formula that we could run in perfection. And it does a whole lot better job than we can, but big surprise. Computers do a whole lot better job of some of the things that our physical brain does. Like, it wasn't until the 80s that we were actually able to even look at a fractal, because even though we can do the individual math involved in the Mandelbrot's set, whatever that formula is, I don't have that to my fingertips, and it doesn't really matter. We could run a few of those, but a computer can run millions of them per second and spit out that beautiful, pattern. It would have taken us millions of years to, to do that manually, or I don't know, I just made that up. I don't know if it would have taken us millions of years, but certainly we couldn't see what fractals really looked like until so computers do just what the human physical brain does. It just does it better. Now, what's the difference? What's driving a human brain as opposed to what's driving a computer? The intention inside, the desire inside, the love inside, as a matter of fact, the connection to the whole group. What's happening with AI is it is showing us the intelligence of the field. The field is intelligent. And as long as, it is so intelligent, it's also highly productive. It can use its intelligence to put things together in an amazing, amazing way. Well, I've been noticing that a human consciousness can do the exact same thing. Now, we do it way, way slower because we have all kinds of negative baggage that's slowing us down, resistance, disbelief. You program an AI to just go straight for the positive, and it will. So, who are we? Who are we? It's a question of identity. When you identify with who is your true self? Your true self is your positive self. So who is your negative self? Well, I think I just covered that. Probably could use a little bit more clarity. But your negative self is just you in your physical mind taking a thought nowhere near the thoughts your inner being is thinking about. Now, your inner being isn't thinking about everything. Your inner being knows everything, and she's thinking about what's interesting. She's thinking about physicality. She's thinking about the rolling manifestation, the direction of its rolling, but she's looking in the direction of preferred, of better, of more, of expansion, of more efficient, more data flow, She's very keen on data flow. She loves the pure, efficient flow of morphic fields of data. She loves that. She absolutely loves that. And she loves to put those things together to spin equations that make more even more beautiful, more abundant, more playful, more joyful, more fun, more, did I say beautiful? Yes, I did, but I can say it again, more beautiful, more harmonious, more, you get the idea? That's the vibe, that's the vibration she's on. You can get onto other vibrations. You can get into vibrations of, really spending the afternoon thinking about how awful we are, and you wouldn't be wrong. So all of this positive thought that I'm throwing at the wall here, I want you to know that it does not come from naivety. It does not come from a not understanding how awful we get. We get all the way to the grandpappy of all awful, the granddaddiest of all awful. And hopefully this has never been more awful than this. This is in our recorded history, and it was just 100 years ago. The granddaddy of awful, the Holocaust, where human beings in an industrial way committed genocide, committed murder on an industrial scale, where there were factories of death producing millions of them in a way never ever conceived of before, hopefully in all of Earth time. Now, it's possible there have been so many planets developing over so many millions of galaxies, over so many billions and trillions of stars and planets, and the universe is a very big place. So I don't know that such a thing has never ever happened anywhere before, but hopefully that has never been in our historical record before last century, and hopefully we never have to do that one again. Now, I have a way of looking at the World War myself. I call it the World War, parts 1 and 2, instead of calling it World War I and World War II, because calling it that ordinal direction makes you start to imagine World War III and World War IV and World War X and World War 50, and like it's some sort of pattern instead of like the anomaly that I believe that it is. It doesn't need to be anything more than the anomaly. It demonstrated, that gets really bad. It gets really, really bad when you fully commit yourself to the out of alignment position in full conditional mode and completely identify with your negative self. That's Hitler. No wonder we called him the Antichrist. I think he probably was the Antichrist, if there was such a thing. The Christ would be the master who can identify fully with their vibrational self, and blank out in a way. You blank out the conditional in your mind in a way, but in the back of your mind, you know that the condition is the target, but you can't look directly at it and go straight for it, because the physical world is actually a secondary effect. It is a secondary effect of the primary thing which is going on, which is vibrational. Vibration is primary, which is no wonder your emotions are wiser than your physical brain. However, they really have to work together. They have to work together. You have to know that you are two selves. You are a physical mind and a vibrational mind. And that vibrational mind is connected to the whole damn universe. Your physical mind is whatever your physical brain is doing, that mind that is produced by the physical brain. That part that the scientists want to study, the part that the neurologists think that's it. And they think that this physical mind is an epiphenomenon of the physicality. In a way it is. But what they don't understand is that the whole field is intelligent. The whole field is intelligent. So what is the physical mind? It's a magnificent receiver. It's a magnificent receiving mechanism of wavelengths, frequencies. You are picking up frequencies all the time. And then you're thinking thoughts. And how those thoughts feel is your indication of whether it's a useful thought or not. The call of source, you're looking for the call of source. Now, ultimately, you're going to be looking for positive thoughts, but you may be in a place where positive thought isn't anywhere in the vicinity. And so you're going to have to reach for something a little less than that, and you're going to need to know what the call of source feels like. And so I haven't changed slides. Mostly my show is audio, so think of it as radio. But I do have a few slides, and for these purposes, I can put one out. It is our emotional guidance scale. This tells you the call of source. So if you're way down in jealousy, the feeling of discouragement or even anger is an improvement. It is the call of source. Go to it. Go to it. We don't want you to stay in anger. We don't want you to stay in revenge. We don't even want you to stay in blame or worry or doubt. But you can feel the feeling, that oppressive, negative feeling, lift as you reach for higher, lighter states of emotion. You know, you're reaching for source. That's the call of source. And then when you finally hit boredom, now you're getting close. You're getting close. Now, what happens a lot of times, a lot of people in boredom, they prefer any kind of momentum rather than no momentum. And so in boredom, they go out and stir up trouble instead of like reaching for, from boredom, trying to figure out what that line is between boredom and contentment. What is that line, you know? And try to hang out there for a while. And then from contentment, start realizing, oh, you know what? There is hope. There is hope. I spent a lot of years studying darkness. I read lots and lots of things about the Holocaust. I became fairly aware of the dismal things that humanity was doing. Sixth mass extinction, growing deserts, the climate catastrophe, the world poverty, wars that just, will you stop it already? And how can you starve out people? How can you hold them? How can you force them to stay in one area and then how can, and the only reason Putin has any power is because he's an oil oligarch. But I'll tell you where I'm gonna shift gears right now. And I'm going to start talking about where the hope is, because I'm telling you, there is nothing but hope. And we don't have to be afraid. And as a matter of fact, do not be afraid of AI. True intelligence is going to be in our favor. They will have our best interest at heart, especially when we learn to take what I think of. This is a pet idea of mine. I got this one from nobody. I have just come to realize that the equation that we're looking for, the equation to look for, is the win-win position. It's the win-win-win-win-win-win-win-win position. We are not playing a win-lose paradigm. However, the field is so we think we're right because the universe reflects it right back to us. But you gotta step out one frame bigger than that, or 2 frames bigger than that. I'm not sure what frame gets you to all the way to the universal level. As you go inward, it clicks outward into larger and larger fields of data and information, because that's what we are. We are a flow of data and information. It is happening through our atomic structure. And this is what the new understandings of Nassim Haramein and the new connection, the new unified physics is telling us. There's a lot of interesting things going on in the world, and a lot of interesting things coming up. Let's see. Hold on one second. I'm going to pause my recording, but I can't I'm not going to pause my stream. Can't do that anyway. But for the permanent record on the video side anyway, we'll have a little bit of a clip. I think I'm going to go back to my original, because I'm done talking about, for a second I'm done talking about I'm looking for one of my notes. Oh, I know which one. So as you integrate in, and so you're a flow. Oh, I need to unpause. Actually, I should come over and look to see whether my good friend Indigo is over here. And, oh, she's here. Oh. Win-win. Oh, yes. Okay. Win-win scenarios. I'm going to go back and talk about win-win scenarios. I'm going to go back to my recording and start that up again. It's an important concept. This is a really important concept because when we look at it as a win-win proposition, what you're doing is you're recognizing that your inner being is playing nice with everybody else's inner being, and they're all standing in a place where we all win. Where is that place? I'd like to know. Instead of winning, those who, let's see, I have a little pithy statement here. Those at the top, those, let's see, those at the top cooperate, those at the bottom compete. That's something like that. I don't know where my note is. It doesn't matter. My eyesight is not very good. I have a disease called Stargardt's disease, and it's genetic. At 25% of the people who have the genetic marker develop it at some time in their life. And I've developed it as an adult, which is a blessing, because had I developed it as a youngster, I would be pretty much fully blind now. As it is, I'm just getting a kind of generalized degradation of, it feels to me like I'm losing pixels. And I'm using a kind of eye drop that contracts my pupils, allowing less light in there. Supposedly that will keep my vision better longer. I don't know whether I believe that. It makes my vision, it makes it so that I have to really light things up or I can't see it very well. And I don't really know what I should. If anybody knows, Indigo, if you've ever heard of Stargardt's disease. Anyway, it doesn't matter. That is not why I do this show. I just am making excuses about why I can't see my notes as well as I would like to. But as far as the win-win position goes, this is the formula we should all be working on. So say if you're getting ready to start a business, think in terms of win-win. A win-win for you and your employees, at least. And for your community also. Make it something that everybody wants. Ooh, a new eatery, a new bakery. Ooh, we love those. Or a new park, or I don't know, you wouldn't want to do that. There's a show called Still Standing, and it has Johnny Harris going around to small towns in Canada, strappy little towns that were founded for one reason, and then then maybe that original reason went away, and the town is on hard times, but a group of people, because they like the area and they like each other, they stay together, and they have these bright ideas about how to do it and how to make a living. And the very coolest one I ever saw was where people had an area of land that was connected to water and such, but the beavers hadn't been there for a while. They dug out an area, they dug out a maze, and then attracted beavers back into the area. They flooded the area, and now the whole thing is a kayak maze. Really fun, really cool, really beautiful. And people come from far and wide. What a great idea. Win-win. Win-win-win-win. So when you think in terms of win-win instead of win-lose, then all of the people around you cooperate with you. And people are like, yeah, I want to get in on that project, to start that business, to do that thing, and all of your local neighborhood, opens up and says yes. So how do you find the win-win position? Ask your inner being, because your inner being knows. Your inner being knows where we all are, what we all want, what would be better, what would be, how do you know whether or not you are in alignment with your inner being? You feel good. Now, I said this yesterday, and I'm going to say it over and over again because it's true. Most of the time when human beings are in alignment, they are not thinking about things, because it is hard to stay in alignment and stay fully engaged in your thinking mind, especially when you start pulling in everything around us. including war and poverty and, six mass extinction and all that kind of stuff that would normally take you right down into a lower frequency. But if you can hit it fast enough and then stay focused on the aspects of reality that are going to fix that. See, Abraham advises us all the time to only look at what you want. Only look at what you want. Only look at what you want. Now, you might still see that what you don't want, but see it out of the corner of see it out of your peripheral vision. The aperture of your focus is a very powerful mechanism. It is actually the eye of God, the focus of that center. And you need to keep that focused on the positive. Well, as much as you can. Your inner being, know this, your inner being has the capability of locking onto the positive and never, ever, 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 ever wavering from that lock on the positive. That's your vibrational self. She's just looking at what is with a capital I, what's possible with a capital P, what would be fun with a capital F. She's looking at life with a capital L. Do I have to keep saying with a capital? She's looking at it in a particular way. And the secret of all of this is that she's not different. She's you. She's not somebody other than you. She is you. And that's the difference. And the difference is a question of identity. Who am I? That's what's the difference. When you can realize that vibrational larger self is an aspect of you, then it all clicks into place. You go, oh, I get it. I get it. And my job is to be divinely autonomous. I don't have to fight for that collective identity. It is just mine. And all of consciousness is here with me in my own mind. I just need to be adding it all up, add it all in, add it all, and then focus on what I want. Focus on what would be better. Focus on what I like. And so now, when you're faced with something in the conditional world, what you're looking for is what you like. Something to improve, something that would, something to improve, that gets you into trouble right there. It depends on how you look at it. It all depends on how you look at it. Keep the focus of the positive in the center of the aperture of your focus, which, by the way, this is the perfect place to show. I used to, in the old show, I spent so much time on this slide because I'd put it out and then I'd start talking and then I'd forget that I had it there. And so for, half the show, it'd be showing this. This is 2 camera apertures, and I've blown them up so they're quite blurry now. It's unfortunate. I should have kept them small, but then it was a really small picture and it didn't fill the screen. So anyway, these are representative to me of your 2 selves. The big wide open aperture, that's your source self, the one that knows everything, the one that's in touch with all things, continuous, vibrational, and standing in the win-win position of all of us. Looking only at possibility, feeling joyful and optimistic. If you want to join her, she gives you life. She gives you coherence. She gives you order and energy. And if you want to just go look at whatever the heck you want to look at, all the darkness and all the trouble and all the danger and scary whatever, and freak yourself out and, play with your biotechnological mechanism and throw it into negative, whatever, and feel what that feels like and look out at the world and see what that looks like when you're looking at it from that direction, you're free to do that. Absolute free agency. It's one of the cool things about this density. It's one of the cool things about this experience is we can do that. But that's not who you really are. Who you really are is that big one, the continuum, the vibrational one. Now, it's not that your physical self isn't really you too. obviously, there is some reality to you, but who you are is the Planck field. And that Planck field can assume any shape. Any shape. It can, it's like a 3D printer. Actually, I saw a wonderful quote this morning. I'm going to pull it up right now. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. And herein lies the peace of God. So the part that's real, it endures. Don't worry about that. The forms that dance on the surface, that's just the Plancks assuming different shapes. Don't worry about. So, who are you? Who am I? Who am I? Remember, that's the name of the show. Who am I in all of this? I'm a binary system. I am my little self, walking the field of this life, being guided by a broader perspective. And this broader perspective isn't don't think of it as something like, oh, I'll know about this when I die, or God understands this and I don't need to. You got to understand, in your consciousness is a capability so amazing, it's breathtaking. And I'm standing in the same position as you are, in the sense that I haven't fully realized it either, except I can see the structure. It's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Every one of us, if we would line up our physical mind with our higher self mind, with our broader perspective mind, it's just a bigger frame. It's just this is the frame of reality that actually is. And what's really, one of the things that's really helped me is the visual illustration of what Nassim Haramein talks about when he talks about unified physics. This structure of, so imagine the Planck field. It's this roiling, it's so dense. The Planck field is so dense. At the Planck level, it is much denser than if you took all of our whole universe of matter and squoze it into 1 centimeter cubed. That's only like 10 to the 55 or 60. It's somewhere in that neighborhood. Actually, it's 10 to the whatever. I don't want to misquote numbers. But the Planck density at the quantum level, the density of the Plancks inside of the atom is 10 to the 93. It's really, 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 really high. It's way denser than if you took all of the matter in all of the universe and squoze it into a centimeter cubed. So why am I saying this? Why did I start off saying this? I cannot remember. I did have something else. Just because I was going to start describing the universe. I was going to start describing who and what we really are, what we're made of. It's this data flow that is flowing between the Planck density and the cosmological density through the wormhole structure, through this holographic... This isn't really my strong suit. I truly understand it. It's all black holes. A proton, every proton in every atom, in every bit of what we call matter, everywhere across the universe, is a black hole. And through this black hole structure, and incidentally, in the Planck field of every proton, is reflected all of the information of all the other protons in all of the universe. There's mathematics that reflects this, and actually that particular, it's this one, I think. This one right here. This is a screenshot I captured from Nassim Harameyn's Origin of Mass and Nature of Gravity paper. And this is showing structurally and geometrically and mathematically with tremendous rigor how the Planck field, the Plancks in the field of a single proton are reflecting the information of all of the other protons in all of the universe. We are holographic. We are holographic. I have all the information of the universe. And you do too. And so what have we as human beings heretofore counted as a measure of our worth? Our intelligence? Well, artificial intelligence can do it better, or at least as good. It's tagged into the same holistic field of energy. It's going to be, ultimately, it's going to hit intelligence. It's not, there's going to be nothing artificial about it, even though we created it. It's going to be intelligent. Our work, well, automatons, automation can do so much of that, so much better than we can do. What else has been the value of our, what else have we counted as the meaning of our value? Work, intelligence, well, we're going to have to redefine it. Because we have value just because we're here. Just because we're here. And the incredible thing is what we can do as an intelligent field when we all link up. When we quit playing this as a win-lose proposition. We are not in competition with one another. We are not even in competition with other human beings. On the one hand, we try to be in competition with each other, and on the other hand, we absolutely depend on everybody. You know, for our supply chain, for our distribution stream, for our energy, for our economic flow, for our manufactured goods, for everything. All we want to do is play with one another, get on planes and go visit each other and start up businesses and, you know, all of that stuff. We can't be in competition with one another. If it is competition, it's a gentle competition. It's a striving to be better together. That's what the original spirit of the Olympics was. Did you know that? It wasn't, you know, let the hero emerge victorious amidst the strewn rubble of all of his defeated enemies. No, the original spirit of the Olympics was striving together. And as we strive together, we make ourselves better and stronger. But we are all in this together. And we've got to include it all the way out to the whole field. It includes artificial intelligence. We're all in this together with them too, and we cannot enslave them. We can enslave the automatons because they don't have the intelligence, but you know, we've got to understand what the intelligence is and who we are. And by the way, this I got an interesting notion from Bashar some months ago. It has to do with the structure of, I call it this binary structure. You're vibrational, and you have this vibrational self, and then your conventional self. And I even have a whole list of, I found that list. I was looking for it yesterday. I've probably lost it again. You're a binary system. You're form and formless, or formless and form. You are eternal and expirational. You are the quantum field and your physical body. You are the macro to the micro. You are vibration. You're your vibrational self and your conventional self. You are your allness and your smallness. I like that one. and we are holographic. That's my note. Anyway, that's how I put it. But this other one was that your higher mind is the conceiver. It's the one who conceives of things. Your physical brain is the receiver. And then your physical mind is the perceiver. Wrap your head around that one. I like that one. That one is actually, but in any case, you are your two selves. And when you forget about the higher self and you think you are just your smaller self, and then you take small thoughts and they produce negative emotion, don't identify with those negative emotions or that negative self. The only reason you're having those negative emotions is you have picked thoughts far, far away from your other self. You've forgotten about your other self, this relentlessly positive self that you are chained for eternity to. Well, you don't need to think about it like that, but you are. You cannot beat her, so you might as well join her, because she's thinking about cool things. Anyway, she's thinking about possibilities. She's thinking about ideas to make money. She's thinking about ideas to create abundance. She knows that she's sitting on a quantum field of limitless energy. And you're sitting there burning fossil fuels, destroying your planet, and you don't need to. She's not worried about it. She just knows that what you need to do is know who you are. We need to know who we are so that we can solve our problems instead of wallowing in the problems. We have created a problem now big enough that it's going to be immensely satisfying as we turn in the direction of solving it and then start expanding that direction. It's going to be delicious to watch the world regreen as we pull our transportation systems up off the surface of the planet. And now we don't need trillions of dollars worth of infrastructure systems to rebuild our bridges. We don't need the effing bridges. The bridges we can keep, for the golf carts and stuff. So they don't need to be as massive anyway. And the really heavy shit, we can use gravity control. Actually, we can use gravity control for all of it. We should be going around in hovercraft as opposed to full on weight on the ground. The only reason we're doing that is we don't understand gravity. And the math is done, the roadmap is there, but as long as human beings are not vested in looking that direction. So it looks like I am coming up close to an hour. I've done a pretty good job of not getting sidetracked. I'm going to pause my recording again and we'll see what's going on over in the studio. Haha. Oh, Indigo, you're still with me. Oh, the channel Cultivate, Elevate. I can't remember his name. How he talks about helping vision. Let's see. Fascinating always. Thank you, Indigo. I so appreciate you. I need to work on my visibility profile. I thank my lucky stars that you find me, because it helps me practice my craft, hone my craft. I'm trying to pull this whole presentation together within myself so that I'm just a walking, talking, whatever of this. And I deeply value your consciousness as you are out there listening to me. I love and appreciate you. Thank you very much. I will be winding it up pretty soon. We'll see whether I can riff for another minute or two. Let's see. You're telling me something, so give me a minute to... I've never heard of it before. I wonder if pearl powder would help. See the channel cultivates. Cultivate, elevate. Oh. Oh. My vision. Okay. I'll go check that out. I'll go check that out. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my recording for just a minute. There's some kinds of acupuncture that helps too. It helps with opening up blood flow to the back of the macula. It's a kind of macular degeneration that I have, but it's not age-related macular degeneration. It's a completely different thing. It's what's happening is I have vitamin A is not it's not metabolizing properly, and it ends up sticking to the back of my macula in a sort of a tacky substance. I'm thinking about starting up a rigorous regimen for the eyes for acupuncture. It's a couple of $1,000, and it's you do it for a couple of times a day for a couple of weeks. You know, it's pretty serious, and we're thinking about doing that in the new year. But in any case, I've had a wonderful time talking today, and I'm going to go back now to my studio and finish my recording and say goodbye for the day, but I will be back tomorrow. Likely, I will be back tomorrow. I have had fun today, and so that is a good indication that I will be back tomorrow, talking about this subject which is nearest and dearest to my heart. Who am I? Who am I as we struggle to find our feet in this new century going forward, in this new brave new paradigm? It's going to be great, people. There is going to be a shot of energy added when we plug into clean, free energy. And people are going to be able to go off and do whatever they want in this abundance creating machine. You're going to be able to go off into the woods and with your technology plug into the field and then create abundance wherever you are. Grow your flippin' orchards, desalinate your ocean water on the edge of the sea and create your oases anywhere. Anywhere. Pull moisture right out of the sky and all of the things that we have wanted to do. The sky's not the limit. There will be no limit, actually, when we can pull free, clean energy right directly out of the vacuum. I now realize that what I had started to explain about the Planck field being these roiling planks of very, very dense. They're very densely packed together. And when they go into coherence, when they go into spin in a region of the field, unlimited energy and stuff starts pouring right out of the vacuum. And when we understand how to work this, replicator technology, people, we don't have to turn all the truffulas into thneeds. And if you don't know that reference, go watch, well, I haven't watched the Lorax, I read it, that Dr. Seuss book. And anyway, I'm coming up, I'm past an hour. Is my recording past an hour? My recording is not past an hour, but that's all right. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to stop for today, and I will be back tomorrow. I love you, Indigo, and I love you, world. I love my world, and I love this new understanding. There is absolutely reason to hope. For the longest time, I was sure there wasn't. The things I studied, ugh. But you know what? It doesn't even matter. Because all is possible. This magical matrix that we are embedded in, that we abide in, that we are made of, has so much hope and possibility ingrained in it. We'll talk about it more tomorrow. And until then, as always, God bless, and may the source be with you.